Good evening, everyone. It's been a great night, and one of the better parts of it is that yesterday I had an 18-minute talk to give you, and as the evening has worn on, I think it has been good to kind of reduce that a little bit. And I know, and I just want to take a few minutes of your time to talk about two things. First, I want to remember two heroes of our movement who died recently. Paula Edelbrick, way too young at age 56, and Frank Kameny at 86. From the time Paula arrived at Lambda Legal as a staff attorney 25 years ago, she was a force to be reckoned with. She made a difference in the community, state, national, and international area, and in the legal, political, policy, and academic arenas. She did it all. Through her tireless work building a number of our community's organizations, Paula was a tireless, ardent advocate for the broadest possible definition of family. And we would honor her best by remembering that our fight is both for equality and the inclusion of and respect for everyone. At age 32, in 1957, Frank Kameny, holding a doctorate in astronomy, was fired from his federal job in Washington during the so-called Lavender Scare, simply because he was gay. Frank did not go quietly. More than a decade before Stonewall, he challenged his discharge all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. He lost, but in 1961, he co-founded the Mattachine Society. In 1965, he held a picket at the White House in coats and ties. And in 1973, led the fight to convince the American Psychiatric Association to remove homosexuality as a mental disorder. How sweet it must have been for Frank to be the guest of honor at the April 2009 swearing in of the openly gay director of the Federal Civil Service, the agency that fired him. And to receive an official apology that day from his government. You know, Frank was often called a radical, a communist, but he rooted his advocacy for us, as a friend said on his passing, in the words of Thomas Jefferson and the Constitution, as an equal American. Late in life, Frank spoke of himself and could have spoken of Paula, and we hope to speak of each of us when he said, quote, "I have chosen not to adjust myself to society, but with considerable success have adjusted society to me. And society is much the better off for the adjustments I've administered." May they rest in peace. The second thing I'd like to say a word about is our young people. Many, as you saw tonight, are articulate, forceful, impressive advocates for themselves. But many more are isolated and alone, without voice or access to power or even access to adults who can help them access power. GLAAD is making a commitment to deepen its work on behalf of LGBT youth. Over the next 2 years, we are going to add staff, both legal and non-legal, in order to address the inequities and unique challenges facing our young people. You know, because when we look at the situation of young LGBT people today, we ask ourselves, why is it in 2011, in the Massachusetts foster care system, we are repeatedly hearing stories of caseworkers telling LGBT kids to stay in the closet and placing those kids with foster parents who want to pray away the gay? Why, in 2011, Are LGBT youth disproportionately homeless to a shocking extent as compared to their heterosexual peers? Why, in 2011, are schools throughout New England still resisting the formation of gay-straight alliances, with, for example, a headmaster in Maine saying this year that he could not approve a GSA because he feared it would make straight students turn gay? Why, in 2011, do we have a Massachusetts GSA advisor refusing to distribute a GLAAD bookmark aimed at LGBT youth because it, quote, tells kids how to take action if they are being bullied? We're asking ourselves these and a lot of other questions and actively exploring ways that we can use GLAAD's expertise in litigation, legislative lawyering, and public education to change the present for LGBT youth and therefore change their futures. And thanks to a generous $100,000 grant from the Boston Foundation this past week, we are well on our way. There are a lot of great examples out there of families taking a stand to support and protect our youth. We honored one of those families tonight, the Patrick family. And you heard from the particularly courageous Maines family before dinner. We must join them, help foster more of them, and put our muscle and resources behind the great project of creating a world where our LGBT youth are always treated with dignity and respect. We have a huge amount of work to do, but as my colleague Mary Bonato said here last year, we will never stop until it's done. Never. Thank you very much.